Hello. This is Mrs. Bridgewater, and I'm sure you recognize Montero Chapel. We're getting ready to tell another story of God. And I think these things are going to help me tell the story. I don't know if you can see, but it looks like there's some sand. I bet this is a desert story. So many wonderful and amazing things happen in the desert. We just had to have a little piece of it here. And yes, it's a star. That's going to help us tell our story too. But first, let's get ready to listen to this story. We can get ready by, yes, we can gently reverence the cross. We can breathe a little more deeply. And we can be still and know that God is near. Oh, it looks like you're ready for the story. I'll see you soon. This is a story about the desert. So many amazing and wonderful things happen in the desert. We just had to have a little piece of it while we tell this story. The desert is a wild and dangerous place. In the day, it's burning hot. And at night, it's freezing cold. There isn't much water in the desert, and so there aren't many things that can grow there. Sometimes the wind comes and it blows the sand so it stings your legs and arms and face as you're trying to find your way. The wind comes and it shifts and moves and changes everything. It's very easy to lose your way in the desert. This is the story of a wonderful family. Father Abram and his wife Sarai. And they lived in a beautiful city that they loved called Haran, or some people call it Haran. They had many friends and lived there for a long time. Sarah was almost 90 years old, and Abram was older. They had no children, which made them a little sad. But they always felt that God was near. God got close to them and they got close to God. And one day they realized that God was asking them to leave their beautiful home and everything they knew and go into the desert. Oh, they wondered. They knew that God was near in Haran, but would God still be near when they went into the wild and dangerous desert? Abram and Sarai loved God, so they went very, very slowly, but very, very faithfully to where God called them to go. And they stopped at a place called Shechem. And they wondered. And they knew God had been then with them in Haran, but was he with them in Shechem? And he was. And so they took stones and they built a little altar and they gave their thanks to God. Then God called them to a different place And they went slowly, so slowly, through the hot desert days and the freezing desert nights and the sand that stung their faces and the places where they seemed very lost until they came to the next place. And God was there too. God became very close to them, and they became very close to God, and they were so grateful. They took some stones, and they built a little altar, and they prayed their thanks to God. But their journey wasn't done yet. They were very old and tired, but they kept listening to God. He took them to many places, and in each place, he was there. So they built a little altar, and they prayed their thanks to God. Once they even had to go into a place where their enemies lived. They were very frightened, but God was there. And they built a little altar, and they prayed their thanks to God. And then one day God said, look at all this green, wonderful land. All that belongs to you. And they were so happy. Yes, I know some of you are saying, did they build a little altar to give thanks? They did. And then God said, because you have been so faithful, your family is going to be bigger than all the grains of sand on the beach, and more plentiful than all the stars in the sky. Sarai turned to Abram and said, I am too old to have children. But God kept his promise. He changed Abram's name to Abraham and Sarai's name to Sarah. I think I might have called her Sarah earlier, in fact. So you may have heard of Father Abraham and Mother Sarah. When Sarah heard that she was going to have a baby, she laughed. And they had a son they named Isaac, which means laughter. They were faithful people of God. Everywhere they went, God was always near. This story, like the stories that we tell in chapel, are found in the Bible. You might have a Bible at your house, and you can ask your mom and dad, if you do, if you can take a look. There are many different kinds of Bibles. And for this story, if you have time and your parents say it's okay, maybe you can draw a picture of your family. Or even better, maybe you can tell the story, a family story, or the story of Abraham and Sarah. I can't wait to read them. I'm enjoying so much the videos that the first graders made to tell me about things they like to celebrate. And Sarai, Abraham and Sarah, they are the Holy Family. And I would like to hear some stories about your family. Maybe you have funny stories, maybe you have sad stories, and maybe you have stories about a time when maybe your family made a long journey. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being ready. Love each other, and I'll see you soon.